What's good, tribe? You know, I'm always looking this way because my water is over here. So when I get a little dry, I want to be able to pull it up. So um, what's good, tribe? So listen, I was having a conversation with a young man, and he was discussing with me about. Now I don't do anymore. I don't do any more coaching calls, y'all. I stopped doing free coaching calls. It just wasn't going in the direction I wanted to go. Let me say that first. So I'm talking to a young man on another coaching call, and it was a free one, and I shouldn't have did it for free, but that's neither here nor there. As we're discussing his potential business plan, he asked me my opinion, and I said, "Listen, I'm gonna tell you what. You want to get somebody to invest in your business. Number one, you have to get people to like you. This is the literal sense of having somebody invest in your business. Now, if you have a very if your business idea isn't one that's too profitable or they can't really see the vision that you have for your business, then you may run into some kind of problems. However, if there is a real need for what you're going to ultimately invent and or present to an investor, there's a real need for it, then the investor will go, okay, they'll look at your business plan, kind of look past you. But 90%, I would argue that 90% of investors invest in the people first before they do the actual product. Now, the product is important because I need a return on my investment, what they call an ROI. But I would argue that at least 80 to 90% investors invest in people first and then they invest into the idea. If you can sell me on you and sell me on the idea of whatever it is your company is, your invention is, whatever it is you're trying to present to the investor, that you have a very good chance of finding investors. Another thing we discussed, and I discussed this with my son's girlfriend. We're discussing about networking, and here's the thing, y'all. Networking requires you to talk to everyone. Say that one more time because I know y'all didn't hear me. Networking requires you to talk to everyone. Because literally, your next conversation could make the difference or the change between becoming a successful business owner as to somebody who wishes they had a successful business. Your next conversation can literally determine your future wealth depending upon how you operate. So when I tell people, or people ask me about people who invest in businesses, the people that I know, people I've been connected to, I would argue that most people who invest in businesses first invest in individuals. Become the kind of person, literally, y'all, become the kind of person that people enjoy talking to, people enjoy listening to, that people enjoy receiving some kind of information from, receiving some kind of benefit from, right? Now, I only say it that way because not that people should be leeching off you, but when people receive something from you, in return, if you're going to you're giving them value, right? People typically it works. And people will listen to you. So, to the young man who I had the conversation with, allow people to see you first, right? Now, you may have a literal multi-million-dollar idea, but you're a trash person. You have a zero. Your idea is worth zero, because I have to be able to trust that I can trust you with my money. Your idea, like I said, your idea could be phenomenal. It could be an outstanding idea, and the invention could be, literally game changing. If I struggle with how to understand you and dealing with you, then that's a problem, right? If you don't come off personable, if you don't come off as somebody who can be agreeable, who can be coachable, who can be who can be what's the word I'm looking for? Who can be agreeable, coachable. What's the other one? I'm drawing a blank, y'all. But you can be somebody who can fit into those categories and ultimately grow as a result of having those key components that investors are looking for in people in business to invest in, then you're going to struggle. Now, this doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. You may find somebody who invests in your business who just as trash as you are, on your attitude, and y'all bump heads often, and the business deal kind of go through, and you kind of succeed, but not really, and it's always tumultuous environment, and the meetings are never on point. If it's that kind of environment, right? If you're not willing to learn, to listen, to be coachable, 95% of the time, no one's going to want to deal with you. Now, if you have I said you have a phenomenal idea, and you have the personality to match that phenomenal idea, you're going to do great. Also, let me include in that, right? If you're looking for somebody to invest in your business, learn to talk. Learn the art of communication. Y'all have no idea how many doors that will close on you if you lack the ability to express what your thoughts are verbally. If you can't carry a conversation with a potential investor for longer than 10, 15 minutes, it's not going to happen for you. It's not. I don't care what kind of program you invent. I don't care what kind of ebook you come up with, what kind of plan you have. None of that matters if you can't really verbally express what it is you're trying to do in your business. And now what I mean is, I'm not talking about going to like great details and all those kind of things, because oftentimes people jot things down just so they don't have to, retain them to memory, because some people like myself, I have I don't want to have the best memory anymore. So I need to jot things down. I'm not talking about going to great detail where you need to like have an 18,000 page No, on a very basic level, with very basic language, with very basic concepts. If you can't express what your business is or what it does, you're going to struggle. Now, having a lengthy vocabulary doesn't necessarily guarantee you access to people with money, but it does open doors. Say you introduce yourself to somebody. Give me a second. Say you introduce yourself to somebody. You introduce yourself to someone. You introduce yourself to someone, and you struggle with that introduction. For whatever reason, you're not feeling comfortable with it. You can't really express yourself. Whatever it is that's holding you back in that conversation, it's going to show up. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to fail or you're going to not get the investor. That you're just going to struggle more. If you learn, let me give you some advice. There are times when I'm in my office, y'all, and I will do a little studying, and I will start talking to myself. I just start a random conversation with myself because I want to be able to, if asked, if someone asks me any questions of any type, can I answer it? And I'll have 60, 70 questions I may write out throughout a week because I'm preparing myself for these conversations. Now, on top of having an answer for these conversations, can you present evidence of these conversations? That is also important. Telling someone what they want to hear without presenting some sort of evidence that supports what you're saying, you're going to also struggle. Now, again, I'm not saying that people won't invest in you. I'm saying that, and it'd be harder for people to go, you know what? Let me think about this. Because if you can actually verbally speak your idea, put it on paper, then present it, and allow people to actually understand what you're saying, you're going to do fine. You're going to do fine, y'all. And don't be afraid. Let me say this. There's a lot of people, y'all. I'm not even joking. There's a lot of people who want to invest into new businesses. They do. Here's the thing, right? So let's go to Kmart here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Kmart no longer exists. Kmart was around when I was a kid. So you're talking about 20, 30 years of business being around. All of a sudden it wasn't. Not all businesses last forever. So because our economy is one that needs to grow and flourish, because we live in a capitalist society, people are always going to need new ideas. There's always going to be a need for ideas. There's 8 billion people on the planet Earth, meaning there's going to be just just as many people needing a particular thing. Whatever that thing is, somebody needs it. And so, don't be afraid to start the new thing. Don't be afraid to start the new coaching company. Don't be afraid to start the new bounce house company, because in your area there may be 10. So now you're number 11. You're like, well, I don't really want to do that. No, don't do that. I'll give you an example of this. In some cities, you will see a Meijer and a Walmart across from each other, or on the same block within a mile of each other. Now, someone who doesn't understand business would say, why would they do that? That's stupid. It's about, we live in a capitalist society. So I have the right, because I live in this society, which I love America, I ain't gonna lie to you, because I have that option. There's some things that Walmart has that Meijer doesn't. And there's something that Meijer has that Walmart doesn't. So I may go to Meijer and go, you know what? They have it cheaper over here at Walmart, and go to Walmart. Meijer isn't going to say, well, you can't come back over here. They're going to take the 50, 60, 70 bucks I made, or for the groceries I bought, and say, thank you, come again. When I go to Walmart, Walmart going to say the same thing. Walmart see me come from Meijer, and Walmart not going to say, why you go to Meijer? They're going to take their $100 for their meat up in the buy and be accepting of it, and thank you, come again. Don't ever believe because you're starting a company that several hundred other people have that it's going to fail. 90% of businesses fail because people just lack the consistency to keep going. That's it. Businesses will succeed if you actually push forward. Just keep going. And it's going to seem daunting. It's going to seem impossible. You're not going to want to do it. Don't let none of that stop you. Here's the last thing I want to say. If you're deciding to start a business, create a business that solves a problem to some degree. Now, it doesn't have to be like a world-changing problem where you solve like hunger or our nation's deficit. Not that, now, would those things be great? Fantastic. If you come up with an idea, you might want to present it. But it doesn't have to be that massive. It can be local, right? What are some of the local problems states and cities and states deal with over here in this country? What is a national problem that we deal with on a micro level, but on a national scale? Give you an example of this. Gangs. That's a national problem, right? On a micro level, can you start in little bitty areas and actually help that grow out because you're actually affecting some change? Of course you can. There are several karate schools. There are several people teaching different forms of self-defense. But what if yours teach that and two other things, right? There's a guy who, Jason Wilson is his name. I think I always get his name wrong. He has an organization called the Cave of Abdullah. And the man is phenomenal for what he does. And when he started off, no one really believed him. I'm one of the few people who stayed with him and saw that he really was somebody I can trust. But you got to be careful with that, right? So no one believed in this man. This man plagued on, keep going on, continue to grow. Wrote a couple of books, fantastic books that I might add. And it's been a shining example of that. If you persist, you can grow. He's actually had to get a bigger school because his last school was doing extremely well. What I'm saying is, don't not do a thing because there's more of them. That's ridiculous. That's insane. Just because a school for yoga exists somewhere in the world, you're going to not do it? There literally are thousands, tens of thousands of stores across the world. There are thousands and thousands of restaurants. With the numbers telling us that restaurants isn't the best business to invest in, that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't start a restaurant. Your restaurant may be the one that far exceeds all other expectations and do very well. What I'm saying is, don't feel the need to not do a thing because you feel like everyone else doing it. Learn to talk to somebody. Learn to talk to people. Learn to mingle. Learn what networking is. Learn the beauty and the gift of interactions. You'll be amazed. Like I said earlier in the video, your next conversation can literally change the course of your life. You know how to present yourself. I'm out trying. Hey, if you made it this far, hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. I'm coming out maybe with a membership here in a couple months. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it so much. And I'm out.